Welcome to the High Adventure Scouting Podcast. This is the source for all things high adventure for scouts, scouters, and anyone else interested in promoting high adventure trips for our youth. You can find all kinds of great high adventure options for your scouts at highadventurescouting.com. We are constantly updating the list of cool trips, and we want your input on your best trip. Hi, this is High Adventure Rob from High Adventure Scouting, and we're joined here today by Damian Ambrosiewicz. He's coming from Rodney Scout Reservation. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the high adventure options and some of the other options they have at their facility. So, Damian, thanks for being with us today on the High Adventure Scouting Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Awesome. All right, now we concentrate more on the high adventure programs on this podcast, so I want to hear about your offerings at Rodney. And, at one time you had a sailing program associated with Rodney and had to be discontinued a few years ago. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So Rodney is a full-time summer camp, and I know they have a variety of programs for all ages, but can I introduce yourself and what you do for the council and at Rodney?
Absolutely. So my name is Damian Ambrosiewicz. Full-time, I'm the Council Program Director North here in the Delmarva Council. The largest part of that responsibility is I'm the Camp Director here at Rodney Scout Reservation. So there's all kinds of year-round, full-time things that go into that, but really just planning for and preparing for summer camp is by far the largest part of my job, and it's by far the most fun part of my job.
So you get to be a Boy Scout for all year long. So tell me a little bit, first off, I know Rodney Scout Reservation has really the full gamut for units, but tell me a little bit about the older scout program that is called ACE. And you talk a little bit about that and really what's involved in that program, and age-wise and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming back actually new this year is ACE, which is the Advanced Camper Experience here at Rodney Scout Reservation. So we took a few years off from it, but it's coming back in full force for summer 2026 and onwards from there. Really what we're trying to do is provide that little bit of extra experience for older scouts that have been coming to camp for a number of years that have kind of gotten used to the routine of everything else and might think they've seen everything that we've got to offer. And we know we've got a little bit left in the tank, so trying to put some of that on display for the summer. So with ACE, we have all of our scouts, we want them to be at least first class and ideally at least 14 years of age at the start of their week at summer camp is kind of our goal. The ACE program area is one of our program areas here at camp. So we have an ACE director and an ACE guide that are a full part of our summer camp staff. And effectively how the ACE schedule works is we have two patrols. So there's a red patrol and a blue patrol. One of those kind of occupies the morning between breakfast and lunch, and one of those occupies the afternoon between lunch and dinner. And there's a number of different activities those patrols get to do throughout the day, but they still have the opportunity to work with their troop or take any other merit badges they may be interested in here at camp during the afternoon or during the morning from there. Some key highlights for us. So we have an advanced sailing program that is part of our ACE program. So that's taking some of our larger sailboats out onto the Chesapeake Bay. If you spent a lot of time at Rodney, you've probably done small boat sailing merit badge, had some experience on the water. So getting a chance to really hone those skills and develop them in a little bit more of a challenging environment is one of those goals. Another highlight, so all of our ACE participants get the chance to work on the Exploration Merit Badge while they're here at camp. So if they're working throughout the whole week, they will be working on Exploration Merit Badge in addition to the Paul Bunyan Woodsman Award while they're here. One other big highlight for us is we have a knife throwing range that is dedicated exclusively to our ACE group's use during the summer. So one of their days, they'll be hiking out into our Bull Mountain Wilderness, our backcountry area here at Rodney. We've got a knife throwing range we've set up out there, so they'll get a chance to do that, and that's exclusively available to our ACE participants. No other time during the year, no other time during the summer is that available for any other scout here at camp. Over and beyond all that, the two patrols do come together for some evening programs, what we call sunset programs here at Rodney, and that includes an outpost at the ACE site for one night, and an ACE campfire program where they get together with just the ACE group, just those older scouts, and the ACE staff, and get a little bit of special recognition at the end of their week of camp.
Awesome. So this is a kind of a half a day sort of program. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So they can have a little bit of best of both worlds, kind of do a little bit of adventure, a little bit of merit badge, or nothing at all.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of scouts who come to camp, as we know, who may end up spending a lot of time just in the trading post or just at the Gaga Ball pit, but they do still get that chance to have those experiences either way.
How long has it been since this program has been active at Rodney?
So I believe since right after the pandemic is when the previous ACE program kind of shut down. At the time, we were having some issues being fully staffed, so having a dedicated staff to a program that was only serving a few scouts during the summer really didn't work out. But we're back in full strength. We're fully staffed for the summer, so we're very excited to get this off the ground again.
Cool. How many scouts can be in a patrol each week, or each? I guess what's the maximum that you can take out on this program?
Absolutely. So right now the program is built to have 12 scouts in a patrol. So 12 is kind of the goal, and our limiting factor for that is really the size of those sailboats they're taking out. So with the instructors, the guide, the director, all with them, 12 and those staff members is kind of where we're sitting for those sailboats to be successful. So 12 per patrol, so 24 total scouts in a week is where we're at right now.
How many scouts are generally in a week at camp at Rodney total?
So Rodney is a pretty big camp in terms of attendance. In general, our average is usually around 500 to 450 scouts in total. Our largest weeks are around 600 scouts. Our smaller weeks are typically in like the 300 range.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's approaching some of the larger camps I've seen. Do the scouts in this program, this ACE program, do they camp with their unit, or do they stay at a special area? It sounds like they go to their unit.
Yep, so they'll be staying with their unit with the exception of that one ACE outpost night that we've got in the schedule.
Perfect. Well, that sounds great. Are you guys thinking on any other options beyond this, or is this anything bigger than this, or is this kind of where you're going for the next several years?
So this is where we're certainly at for right now. Kind of based on this summer, on feedback we get from those participants and from our staff, we are looking at potentially making it a full week program in the future, or potentially having both options going forward. But we want to kind of test the waters, make sure we're putting on a really good, meaningful experience for those scouts, for everyone who's coming through the gate.
Sure. Now, is this additional cost on top of the regular summer camp fees, or is it the same?
It is exactly the same. So all of our pricing for all of our scouts who come to camp, whether it's your first year, whether you're 17 years old going into ACE, it's entirely all-inclusive. So that's the same price across the board, irregardless of which programs you're taking. So you could be doing shotgun shooting, you could be doing ACE, or you could be doing just stuff in our ecology area. No matter what, it's all the same price for everyone.
Now, our podcast and website have kind of a national flair, so we have people from all over the country and different parts of the world kind of looking at options for high adventure. Where do most of your troops and units come from? Mostly in the Northeast, or do you have people from outside of that area?
Most typically, we're kind of that mid-Atlantic area. So Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, that's our predominant kind of area. So we're located right on the Chesapeake Bay. We're actually the only scout camp on the Chesapeake Bay. So our aquatics program is really our big draw. That's our big focus. That's generally where we see them from. Every summer we do have some troops coming from further afield than that. We've had troops from Texas, from Florida. We've had scouts from the Transatlantic Council over in Europe. And we typically, about every other year, get a group from the Middle East that comes over and visits Rodney specifically for the summer.
I think that's probably a little easier to get to your location than other places.
Absolutely. So we're pretty much surrounded by airports, and we're only about 20 minutes right off of Interstate 95, and that kind of connects the entire East Coast all together. So if you can get 95, you're pretty close to getting to us already. Yes,
exactly. I attended quite a few scout jamborees at AP Hill, so I've been out to that area several times with scouts. So you're right in the middle of airport. What airports are you right in the middle of?
Closest to us would be Baltimore Washington International or Philadelphia, and not much further than that, you'd be looking at at Reagan down in Washington, any of the New York airports, New Jersey airports, you're pretty much within that footprint. We're within 3 hours of drive to Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, Washington, D.C., that kind of whole major metropolitan area altogether.
That's awesome. That's a lot easier than some of the areas I've looked at going.
Absolutely.
Make it a little more difficult. So how long have you been at Rodney doing what you're doing?
So I've been here at Rodney Scout Reservation for coming up on 2 years. So I was hired right at the start of the summer in 2024. So I was hired on as the assistant camp director with the understanding that in the future I'd be the camp director from there. I've been working at summer camp since 2015. So I started out as a CIT at another camp. So I've been at camp basically continuously. At Delmarva Council, Rodney Scout Reservation, I started here in summer of 2024.
Awesome. That's great. So you've got a lot of experience. So that's you pretty much know everything. But
I try.
Now, outside of the ACE program, this kind of one of the advantages of having an older scout program is it allows units to bring their older scouts. And within my troop, we always look at the age 14. Once they get to 14, they start losing interest. They've taken every merit badge. They feel like they've done everything, and they need another adventure. And I always think that's kind of an interesting age because that's usually where the high adventure options start, around 13 to 14. So that's a great draw. What else is going on at Rodney Scout Reservation, and what are the highlights outside of my interest in kind of the high adventure type stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to run a really good program all the way across the board. So everything we do, try to put our best foot forward, meaningful experience. Our Brown Sea program, which is our first-year camper program here at Rodney, is incredibly strong. It's a full-day program for those first-year campers that are coming in. And across the board, they're working on a variety of requirements from Scout through First Class, in addition to the Swimming Merit Badge and the Nature Merit Badge as well. And over and beyond all those requirements they're working on, we also try to take them around and show them kind of everything else that camp has to offer. Because what we really want is those scouts to get excited about scouting, about coming back to summer camp. So those Brown Sea Scouts, in addition to their requirements, in addition to nature and first aid, they're also going to visit the climbing tower, they're going to visit the archery range and the rifle range, they're going to spend some time at our handicraft area as well to kind of get that whole summer camp experience, but a little bit more tailored and catered towards that first year camper mentality. Over and beyond that, like I said earlier, aquatics is by far our biggest focus. That's what we're known for, that's what our draw is. So we have 3 aquatics program areas here at Rodney. We have a swimming pool, so that's where we're teaching swimming, life-saving, merit badges, as well as the Scouting America Snorkeling Award. Over and beyond snorkeling, so we also have the boatyard, which is one of our 2 waterfronts right on the Chesapeake Bay. The boatyard is all of those merit badges and activities where the scout themselves is powering the boat. So that is where we are teaching canoeing, kayaking, and rowing, as well as the fishing merit badge. So they've got that direct access to the bay. And our final of those 3 aquatics areas is the sailing base, on the other end of the property, also right on the bay. And that's where all of those boats that are powered by something other than the Scout. So that's where we teach small boat sailing, that's where we teach motor boating and water sports merit badges, all there together. And that's also where the ACE program will be launching those boats that they'll be using from the sailing base as well.
Any special things that happen after summer camp at Rodney Scout Reservation?
So we are open for weekend camping for basically the entire year. So other than holidays and the summer season, we're open for weekend camping for troops to come down. Every single weekend, we have some kind of program going on that our camp masters put on for the weekend. So that can range from outdoor cooking demonstrations to Paul Bunyan Woodsman Award to working on the rifle range, shotgun range, archery range, whatever else. Over and beyond that, we also have our Klondike Derby in January of each year, where troops can come down and kind of compete as patrols against other patrols that are coming to camp for the Klondike. And we've got one really large Cub Scout event we run every year in October, typically the 3rd weekend in October, where Cub Scouts are able to come down with their families, and we've got the whole camp kind of set up as almost like a camporee. So they're able to go around to different areas of camp, and that's staffed a lot by alumni and staff that are currently working at camp for the summers to kind of give that experience. And the real goal with that is that Cub Scouts that have just joined the program, we're delivering on that promise as soon as possible. So if they heard at school they get to spend their time camping and hiking and doing all those cool things, we want to make sure they get to do that and they stay excited for the program.
Exactly. I know you guys have a shooting area. Tell me a little bit about that. The kinds of things that goes on there, other than the merit badges.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 ranges. We have a shotgun range, a rifle range, and an archery range. So they all run their typical rifle, archery, shotgun merit badges throughout the week. The archery range and the rifle range are also used by our Brown Sea program for those first-year scouts to come through. Over and beyond all of that, we also do tomahawks as one of our sunset programs during the summer. And during those sunset programs, a lot of the areas, instead of just doing kind of the basic version of you're shooting a paper target with a rifle or you're just shooting archery, we're trying to add something special to make scouts want to go to that area as compared to any other. So we've got some metal targets out on the rifle range. We do some fun things down at the archery range to try to get folks all the way in and excited about it. All across camp, including ACE, we've got 13 program areas in total. So there's a lot of variety in terms of merit badges and activities with our sunset programs, our sunrise programs, kind of all across the board. There's always something new to do.
That's great. That's a lot of fun. That's something you get to do everywhere. So
yeah, both the tomahawks and the throwing knives, I'll be completely honest, are both much more difficult than they seem. I mostly say that because I am not good at either of them. It doesn't seem like it'd be that complicated, but it definitely takes some skill.
Yes, I'm not sure I could do the knives, but that would be fun to try. So, and I'd have to be a part of the ACE program to do that, right?
There you go. Absolutely.
So what have I missed? I mean, what kinds of things do you want everybody to know? I know everybody in the Northeast probably knows about your program. People outside the area, they don't. So this might be a good opportunity for them to know what's going on other than what you've told me. So.
Yeah, just to hit it again, just to stress it again, our access to the Chesapeake Bay is really our strongest asset overall. So our sailing programs, our boating programs all over the bay, that's really what we put a lot of our energy into. But across the board, we do everything really well. So all of our staff are very well trained. The goal is to have that meaningful outdoor experience for everyone who comes through the gate. We understand a lot of people are coming here, at least for the first time, because of the bay in particular. So a lot of our time and resources goes into making sure our fleet of motorboats and sailboats and canoes, kayaks, rowboats are all in great shape, ready for people to come back. Typically, troops that are coming for the first time, it is for the bay, it is for those aquatics activities. But generally, when they come back, they're coming back because of the staff and the culture and everything else that's going on at camp. As we mentioned earlier, it's a very large camp in terms of attendance. So when you're coming here, it's a very different environment than what you might be used to because it's very action-packed. There's always something going on. There's always scouts and leaders around working on something all across camp. There's definitely an energy in the air when everybody's in camp, when we're all the way full and everyone's here and ready.
Awesome. So how early do units need to get their reservations in before the next summer?
We open registrations during the summer, kind of on a rolling basis. So we run 6 weeks of program throughout the summer. During our week 1, troops that are here at camp are able to register and kind of save their site for the following year. But as soon as week 2 starts, that week 1 opens up to everybody in the world who wants to come in and register. And same follows for weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After that point, the summer is entirely open. Troops can come in and register. The earlier weeks typically go a lot faster. So by the end of the summer, they're getting pretty close to full. Typically by about September, October is when we start seeing some of our weeks actually fill all the way up. Sooner is always better. It's easier for you to plan. It's easier for us to plan. Kind of better all the way across the board. If it's getting closer and closer to the summer, we do our best to accommodate troops, especially if they're willing to come later in the summer when it starts to get a little hot and muggy out. We're definitely able to still find some spaces to fit folks in. So it may just be a matter of a phone call. We do also almost always have space for provisional scouts. So if a scout wants to come up without their troop, we do have some space, and sometimes even if the week appears to be full, if you're looking in from the outside, we can often have room for 1 or 2 provisional scouts to kind of fit in and slot into the program somewhere. We'll find a good host troop for them, and they'll be able to see everything we have to offer.
In the ACE program, do the troops or the units have to have an adult associated with that, or is that scouts can just go right to that program each day?
Scouts can just go right to that program each day. For most of the things they're doing, if any leaders want to tag along, want to go with them, they're more than welcome to. Really, the only exception to that would be those sailboats again, because at a certain point, it's got that hard capacity on the boats. But for the knife throwing range, for anything else, if a leader wants to come along, they're more than welcome to. Same thing with the overnight. But scouts don't need to bring a leader. That's not a prerequisite to coming with the ACE program.
Well, that's a good thing. That makes it a lot easier. So
Absolutely.
awesome. Well, did I miss anything? Anything else that you want to throw out there?
Nothing I can think of in particular. Rodney is a very historic camp up here, so we're going into our 103rd summer at this point. So Rodney Scout Reservation first opened in 1923. So there's a lot of history to the camp, a lot of energy. It's definitely something that should be experienced at some point.
That's awesome to hear. And with so many camps closing in different councils, it's good to hear that yours has been around a long time. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today, and I've learned. I'm a geek about this stuff. I like learning about new camps and new opportunities, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolutely, it's 100% my pleasure.
All right.